Hi everyone, today we'll be making a custom Shaker LL doll. If you've been to my Instagram recently, you would have seen me unbox this really cute glitter globe doll. This one is Prezzie, and I love that her hair is actually a shaker. I was inspired and I thought it would be really awesome if we can somehow turn the entire doll into a shaker. So that's what we're going to try to do today. Here are the supplies that you'll need. First, we're going to need to make a mold of the doll, and so I am using liquid silicone. There's two parts to this, part A and part B. After that, we'll cast the doll in clear resin. I have two types here. I have regular resin. This one cures over a period of time, about 12 hours. And I also have UV curable resin. This one will require a UV light. You're also going to need some clay. This is regular sculpting clay. Some acrylic paint. Some cups, and also whatever you want to fill in your shaker. Alright, let's get started. The first thing we want to do is prep the figure. Underneath the head, I attached a small block of clay to act as a stand. This way, the silicone can go all the way around the head. Because this is going to be a shaker, we need the inside of the head to be hollow. So when we have the mold, we're going to cut it right here. This way, we would have a two-part mold, and then we can fill in the inside before we pour the mold. For the body, we're going to fill in this little cavity down here under the dress. That way the silicone won't go inside. So here's what it looks like. The entire bottom is covered, and I also covered the little slit here on the back of the shoe. We're going to make the mold in little cups. The bottom of the cup is too narrow, so I'm filling it in with some clay. And I also made a little bit of space for the block of clay to sit on. We're going to place the head in a cup just like this. We're going to do the same thing with the other cup. We have some clay on the bottom. And for the body, we're going to place it upside down. This way, the mold can be filled from the bottom up and won't get as many bubbles. Okay, and the body will look like this. Now we're ready to mix the silicone. This is a two-part solution, so I'm going to use a scale to measure out 1 to 1. Here's the first part, and then the second part. Now we're going to mix the pink and blue until it turns completely purple. And then we're just going to pour it into the cups. Oh no, the head is floating. Oh, we're going to have to fix that somehow, or there's going to be a hole in the mold. So it's been a day and the mold is ready. So this one is the one with the body. Let's go ahead and take it out. So here I drew a line where I think we want to cut the body. So I'm just going to mark it here. And now we're just going to cut open this cup. This clay portion off. Okay, so this is where we think the legs are, so I'm going to cut all the way around, and hopefully we come just right under the skirt. That way we can hollow out the inside before we pour our resin. So I've cut all the way around, and I think all we have left is the doll on the inside. So let's go ahead and try to pull the two pieces apart and see how our mold looks like. Okay, so here are the legs. I think we cut it just perfect. Real gentle. Oh, here's the legs. Do you see that? Here comes one leg. Here's the, oh, perfect. Oh, look at that. So we got it perfectly right under the skirt. So this top side is going to be harder because we have the arm sticking out. So the arm goes like this, it's in a T. It's going to be really hard to pull it out from this direction. So what we're going to do is cut it across this way so that we can open it the other way. You want to work slowly with your X-Acto knife because the silicone is soft, so you don't want to accidentally cut all the way through and cut yourself. Oh, there it is. Alright, so we have the top part of the body. Now let's demold the little piece of bubblegum. This one is pretty easy. Just pop it out like this. And let's just carefully cut the top. And there it is. And here is the mold for the head. And I know it looks really weird because what happened was the head is hollow. So when I poured in the silicone, it started to float and I couldn't get it down into the resin. And so what I did was I just put a cup on top of the head and weighted down with some extra clay. So I really don't know what it looks like down here. It could be good or it could be a disaster. So let's go ahead and let's see. I think we need to cut the cup open from the bottom and just hope for the best. Alright guys, so fingers crossed that the head is intact and we can actually do something with it, or we might have to start over and redo the head. Okay, here is the clay, so we can take that off. And I am not sure what to make of this. Okay, and then somehow we're going to peel the second cup on top. Can't feel the cup giving away. Oh, that's good. I was afraid the head might be sticking out. But okay, seems like we can cut away this portion. Kind of a waste of silicone. Alright guys, so I don't know which direction the head is facing over here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to cut it in half and then hope for the best. Alright? Alright. Cross your fingers. Okay, so I made a cut and let's go ahead. Oh, I think we cut it sideways. Okay. This is probably not the best cut. I was hoping to cut it right across the back. Okay, so here are the two sides. So we cut her right down the middle of the face. I think this might still work, but let's just go ahead with it and give it a try. Let's make the bubblegum. So I have the molds here cut in half, and we are going to use colored UV resin. This is the resin that we cure using UV light. I'm putting the mold on a piece of clay to make it level, and then we're going to add pink UV resin. And just for fun, let's add some glitter. And then we'll cure it with some UV light. Okay, let's go ahead and see how this turned out. Here is one half. And here is the other half. To stick them together, we'll use a little bit more resin. So I added a small dab. I'm going to stick the other half on top. And then we'll cure it again. For the head, since we cut it kind of awkward, I don't think it'll be really easy to use regular epoxy resin to make the figure. So what I'm going to do is actually use the clear epoxy resin. This one we cure with UV, so it's really fast. And what I'm going to do is do a little section at a time. I'm going to coat the bottom of the mold and then cure it. And then we're going to do it bit by bit. So starting with the face here, I am just going to pour this, drip this down, and see where it lands. And wherever it coats is where there's going to be resin. Now make sure it goes all the way to the edges without leaking. Okay, then we're going to cure it with our UV lamp. Okay, so that portion is dried, and now we're going to do this part. And we're going to keep doing this until we have the entire bottom coated with some resin. And it's okay to be a little bit uneven because this is clear and we shouldn't be able to see the unevenness. And we want the resin to overlap a little bit because we do not want any gaps between the resin. This method is a bit slow and time consuming. We're adding thin layers at a time, so we'll need to go back over it and add more layers so that it is thick enough to hold liquid without risk of breaking. And if there are any bubbles, we'll quickly flame it. Okay, so now I think it's thick enough to remove. Let's see what it looks like. So we have the two pieces, and as you can see, it's split right across the face. Using more UV resin, we're going to glue the two pieces together. And here we have it. The head is done. Let's move on to the body. We'll start by closing the hole that was created when we added the clay block. I'm using a few drops of UV resin to do this part. Now let's mix the resin. The reason why we're using regular epoxy resin is because the silicone is solid and we would not want to be able to cure the resin in the arms that's embedded in the silicone. It is also less expensive than UV resin, and so I try to use it as often as I can. Of course, the drawback is that there is a shorter period of time you can work with it before it starts to thicken, and you have to wait 12 hours before it finally cures. Now, I'm just using a pipette to fill in the shoulders and also the arms. Hopefully we won't get an air bubble and our arms are filled in. Then we'll fill in the body cavity about halfway. Next, taking a small piece of clay, we're going to drop it in to create a body cavity for the shaker. The bottom of the clay is sitting on top of the UV resin that we added earlier. Then, using toothpicks, we'll center it so that there is resin all around. Alright everyone, so it's been a day and our resin is ready. So let's go ahead and take it out of the mold. We're going to be careful with this one so that the feet doesn't break off. Alright, and here it is. Oh my goodness. Look at the details on this. Isn't this cool? Alright, so we have the feet. Let's go ahead and take the body out. Alright guys, so this is not looking very good. As you can see, the hands are not fully formed, and also I'm having trouble getting this piece of clay out. So I don't know if once I dig it out, it will look kind of messy just because some parts of the clay is sticking to the resin and it won't be clear. So what I've decided to do is use the same technique that I used for the head, where we put a little bit of UV resin and then shine an UV light on it to harden it a little bit at a time. This way we can coat everything all around the body and still leave the inside hollow. So we're going to do this. It's going to take a little bit longer, but I think the results will look okay since the head turned out pretty good. Alright, so second time around, let's hope this works. So this time, this is the UV resin, and we're going to take this out real carefully because it's hollow on the inside and some parts might be a little bit thin. Do the arms a little bit more so that they solidify. It was really hard to do the arms because they're encased inside the silicone. So this arm turned out okay. The right arm, she's okay too. There's a little hollow spot, which I think we can fill with some resin. We're just going to put a little dab of UV resin here and shape it. And what's really great is that with this light, it hardens right away. I think next time that I do this, I'll make it a two-part mold and cut it right down the middle. Alright everyone, so we have these two pieces which we can then seal up. Alright, now we have two pieces of the body parts. We have the upper body and the legs, and we'll need to seal it up like this. But before we do that, let's go ahead and fill the inside with some glitter. I have my little glitter and confetti mix here, and let's just pour it in. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put some UV resin on the ends here and then seal it up. And through this tiny little gap here, we're going to fill the inside with water. Now we can fill in the head with some confetti. Alright, so the resin part is done, and as you can see, it looks really cool. So here, liquid and glitter inside the top cavity and also the body cavity. But the arms and legs are completely clear. And so the next thing we want to do is paint the eyes and also a little bit of the leg. And we are going to do that with some acrylic paint. Starting with the eyes, we're going to paint the whites of the eyes. For the irises, we're going to use dark brown. And then add black pupils. We'll also add black eyelashes. We'll use dark brown for the eyebrows. Then add one small white dot to each eye. For the shoes, we're going to paint the front gold. Alright everyone, and we are done! My first LL shaker! Here she is chewing her little bubble gum and blowing a pink bubble. And here, as I turn the doll, you can see the little water inside her body cavity and also her head. And of course, we can shake it. You can see all the little stars floating around in there. This was a really fun project. It took a lot of hard work, but I think it was worth it. What do you think? Do you think I should make more shakers? If you do, give this video a big thumbs up and make sure to subscribe. Alright, I'll see you next time. Bye!